So we'll go through this gear. Let me know in the comments below what you think is good, what's bad, what you might take, what kit you have. I mean, this might help you, give you an idea what you might need, and perhaps learn something or two. But I like to point out that knowledge is key, really. There's no substitute for it, really. You need to, you'd be wise to learn about your environment, the flora and fauna, how to forage for food, how to fish and hunt and build shelters. My philosophy is, if you've got the kit and you can carry it, then brilliant, because it's all about efficiency. I mean, if you have to spend a day building a shelter, then that's a day lost where you could be searching for resources, foraging, finding food, things like that. If you've got a shelter with you, then there you go, you can put it up within 10 minutes, and then spend your time finding food, etc. You get a lot of preppers, particularly in the US. They've got 25 years worth of food and well defended property and generators and all sorts like that. But worst case scenario is you got to get out on foot with what you've got. So basically, this is what this kit is. So first I'll go through with you what you're wearing, and then what I like to call it, primary and a secondary kit. The point of the primary kit is this is all your essentials all in one small pack, and the secondary kit is extras and things you could perhaps do without at a push. So your primary kit is something that I would take everywhere with me. When you've used your secondary kit to set up a camp and you go off foraging, your primary kit goes with you. It's got all your hunting, fishing gear, fire lighting, water collecting things in here. So if your camp was compromised when you got back, it was stolen or it's not safe to go back to it, you've still got all your essentials with you. And it's a fairly small, light, convenient pack, so it's not too much bother. And so, like I said, your secondary kit is your sort of camping gear, essentially, and any extras that you can carry that will help you. But we'll go through all this each individually. First, I'll go through with you what you might consider wearing. Top of my head, I've got a light, thin beanie, which keeps your head warm. Underneath, t-shirt, lightweight fleece. On top, I've got a hard-wearing, weather-resistant jacket with plenty of pockets and a hood. Trousers, I have these, again, hard-wearing, sort of fairly weather-resistant, sort of cargo-type pants. Boots, I have these, sort of military boots, ex-military boots. These are full grain leather and Gore-Tex lined, so they're extremely waterproof, and being leather, they're very hard wearing. You don't want to go for the fabric type, hill walking type boots. They'll just not last out in the field. Also, I have a watch. This is a solar powered Citizen watch with analog dials, calendar. This could be useful for keeping track of time and days if you remember to adjust the calendar for each month. And of course, the dials can be used as a basic compass with the sun, so that's something to look up and learn about. Okay, then let's move on to the gear. Okay, let's go through the primary gear. The pack I've got is a Maxpedition Versi pack. I think the model is the Fat Boy, I think. Very durable, made of 1000 denier cordura. Very strong, it's going to last for years. It's a sling type pack, so it slings over one shoulder, goes behind your back. It's got a little belt that you don't have to use, but it's good to keep it tight to your body if you need to run in, jump in, things like that. And we'll go through what's in it. Okay, so first of all, knife. This can go on your belt. What you want is a fixed blade knife. This is a sort of bushcraft type knife, made out of a good steel, perhaps 4 to 5 inches in length, with a deep belly and a fairly thick spine. So that'd be very useful for batting in wood, even light chopping and general tasks that you would need a knife for in a survival situation. So that's the knife. Also on the side we've got a folding saw. This particular one is a Barco Laplander, very common amongst survivalists and bushcraft and outdoors people. It's quite convenient. It just folds up nicely, and you can replace these blades. So that's something to go in your secondary pack, perhaps a spare blade. And it works really well. So okay, in the side we've got a water bottle flask type thing. This particular one's by Pathfinder. It's a single walled vessel, which is what you want. You don't want a vacuum flask type thing, because you want to fill this with water that you find and put it on a fire, and to make water safe. Also on the side we have a cup, boiling, cooking vessel, pot thing, and also a lid. So this again is from Pathfinder, and also in the back I have hanger for the pot and the flask. This can be put in through there like that, and you can hang it over a fire and boil your water. And same with the bottle, you can just put it in like that, boil your water over fire. This one is I made myself, although Pathfinder make something almost identical, which they sell. This side we've got a head torch or flashlight, whatever you want to call it. It's got an adjustable headband, and this can also come out and you can use it handheld. This particular one is made by Zebralite. I think it's the H600 Mark II or something. Very good, extremely durable. It's made of aluminium or an alloy. LED, that's what you want. You don't want anything with bulbs in. This got a burn time of it. I think it must be at least 50,000 hours or something like that. And it's also got an end cap, which I can just lightly unscrew so it won't turn on when it's packed away. And it's powered by an 18650 lithium ion battery, and also I have a couple of spare batteries, all fully charged, ready to go. Also in here we have a lightweight, packable, survival blanket bivvy type thing with, you know, reflective material and all sorts. You know, it's a bit better than the foil type blanket thing you get. It's a bit more durable. It's coated with some extra layers and things, so that'll be good to have with you in your primary pack. If you get separated from your secondary gear, you've at least got something to go. Okay, in the top pouch we have a first aid kit. It's in a tough waterproof case. I think this one's by Locksack. It's got everything you need in there for most situations. Perhaps I'll do a separate video on that. Okay, in the back pocket I've got a slingshot. Now this is a really good survival weapon. You know, it's very small, doesn't take up much room. If you know how to use it, it can be very effective up to 25, 30, 40 yards, even beyond. And potentially you've got an unlimited supply of ammo if you can collect some nice small little pebbles or things like that. And also I have in the back spare bands and spare pouches, and we have a few zip ties. These are the releasable type. You know, as you know, these are just indispensable for on-the-go repairs. You know, perhaps the strap on your bag is broken, you know, you can just zip tie it together. These are brilliant. Or shelter building, things like that. Okay. Also, we have in the back some brass wire rabbit snares. I think I have about 15 here. That's a good amount. Preferably to snare effectively, you could, you know, do with more really. Perhaps that's something you can have in your secondary kit, have some more snares or at least some brass wire. Okay. In the front pouch we have this is a little dry bag. I've got that in, you know, that could be used for all sorts of manner of things, but you can just zip tie it to your belt and you can use it for foraging items or collecting file item material, things like that. And also in here we have a couple of tea light candles. These are pretty handy, just if you need to get a fire going and everything is absolutely sodden. Sometimes the only thing that will work is having one of these burning underneath, or, you know, just some bit of light in your shelter. And we have some tape. This is Gorilla tape. You know, that's useful for all sorts of things, repairing clothes, tarps, anything. Brilliant. We have a whistle. Might come in handy. You know, this is a Nightcore titanium whistle. You know, it weighs absolutely nothing. You know, I've got room for it, so it might be useful. And we have a fishing kit. Perhaps I'll do a separate video on this and go through what is good to include in a fishing kit, because some of the pre-made things you can buy are just absolutely awful. Okay. Also in here we have a small notebook. This is a Write in the Rain waterproof type notepad with its own pencil, and useful for writing notes on things you might find, perhaps grid references, any information that could be handy. And we have a compass. One is by Silver. You know, it's nothing fancy, just something basic, but it does the job. And we have a small knife. I've got room for it, so I'm going to take it. This one's by Enzo. I think it's called the Enzo 17 necker. This is a small, thin very sharp blade. This is really good for food preparation, filleting fish, skinning animals, whereas the bushcraft knife, your main knife, is not quite so suitable for that, for those tasks. So this is where this little knife comes in handy. Not essential, but it's good to have. If you've got room for it, put it in. Also, we have a permanent marker. This one's a Sharpie that could come in handy. You can pretty much write on anything with that. And that's that for the front pouch. And let's move on to the main. In the back, I've got a map. This one's laminated, so it's much more durable and waterproof than the sort of regular maps you get. And this is 1 to 25,000 scale, so it's really good detail. It shows you all the information you'll need in your region. You can cut it down to a more manageable size, but remember to include some of the information at the bottom, or at least write it down in your notebook about the magnetic north change per year. Something to look up. And then we have a couple of chocolate bars for energy on the go, and we have a knife, fork, spoon. These are titanium ones, so weigh absolutely nothing, so I'm going to put them in. And we have a sewing kit. I think this one was an old German army issue kit, but I've added a few extra things in there. It's fairly comprehensive. It's got what you need. I've got sort of leather working needles in there if you need to sew animal fur or hides together or repair clothes. Got thread, a pair of little scissors, safety pins. And we have a wash kit. This is the Maxpedition Mini, I think it is. So we've got, basic hygiene things in there: toothbrush, toothpaste, razor, little flannel. It should last you a little while. And we have also a mirror, which will be really handy if you need that for signaling or anything like that, if you need to. We have another Maxpedition mini pouch. This is our fire lighting kit. So in here we've got a couple of lighters. Save those for when all else fails, when everything is just so damp, no spark will work. Use a lighter. You've got room for it, so take it. So we have a big ferrocerium rod. That'll last thousands of strikes. We have a little striker for it there. And here we have a little sort of credit card type Fresnel magnifying lens, I think they're called. Using the sunlight to make a fire. In the back here we have a pouch with another glass magnifying lens, a bit more powerful, light your fires in the sunlight. So what I would do if when it's good sunny weather, use a magnifying glass and save all your other kit, save wear and tear. Little spork, just a little spare item. Sharpening stone for our knives, full leaving DC3 with a fine and a coarse side. And a little waterproof tube with cotton wool in for fire lighting. It's often soaked in petroleum jelly to burn a bit longer. We have a pair of gloves. These are leather, very hard wearing. I choose these over sort of like warm woolly type gloves because you're going to be working with your hands all the time, gathering firewood, building shelters, things like that. So you need to keep your hands in as best as condition as possible, because you know you're going to rely on them. So, and we have an aqua straw, a water purifier straw. So when you're bugging out on the go, you know you haven't got time to be stopping and making fires and boiling water, or perhaps you can't because you're on the go and trying to get out of a situation. So that's good. And also I have water purifying tablets in my first aid kit. So when you stop to get some water, you can use the straw to drink, have your drink. Use your water bottle to fill up with water and pop in a purifying tablet, so you've got water on the go. And we have 2 pouches of peanut butter. So these are great because they're in a foil resealable pouch. Great for on the go because they have absolutely so much energy compared to other foods. It's just what you need when you're bugging out. You just need some energy to get out there and keep going. Last but not least, we've got a mess tin. I think this is a old French army issue one. So we've got a cloth on top, just to keep any rattle down, and also it's good for putting over the top of your water bottle to filter out any particles when you're filling up your water bottle. And we have some 3-in-1 coffee sachets for brewing. Some packets of porridge oats and lug bags of boiling the bag rice. These are just for if you get a chance, when you stop, you can get a little fire going and got a few bits of extra food till you get to your bug out location. Okay, so that's the primary gear we went through. We'll take a look at the secondary gear next. Okay, so moving on to the secondary gear. As I said before, this is all the non-essential items or things you could get away with, whereas the primary pack is all your sort of basic essentials you'd really want. So this is I think it's a 40-litre pack, very durable, made out of very strong core durable material, weather resistant, and it's got these loops on the front so you can attach extra things if you need to. Plenty of pouches and zip pockets. So in the top I've got my axe and folding bow saw in this rather neat little canvas carrying bag. And well, if you're going foraging, I'd take this with me as well as the primary kit, because really I'd really want this with me. Just in case you're wondering, this neat little canvas bag was made by, I think, Phil's Wood Turning on Etsy. I think he's from Yorkshire or something in the UK. Very nice. Go look him up. So in here, so the axe has got its own little protecting leather sheath. So this is a good size bushcraft survival axe. Small little hatchets are useful if you know, it's better than nothing, but this is the best of both worlds, where it's good enough to chop down a small tree, and it's small enough and light enough and agile to be able to do delicate work with, or battening wood, things like that. So very useful, good survival item, and also can also be used as a hammer, hammering in stakes, building shelters, anything where obviously you need a hammer. So that's good too. And inside I have the folding bow saw and a spare blade. Then this zip on the front. Here we have a whole bunch of spare first aid items, extra bandages and ibuprofen, paracetamol, antiseptic wipes. If you use the first aid kit in your primary gear, I'd use this to top it up so your primary gear is restocked. Okay, so in this other top pocket I've got a reel of bank line. This is useful for doing traps or any other thing that requires a smaller thread than paracord, although you can take paracord apart and use the inner, but I've got it with me. So talking to paracord, I've got a whole bunch of extra here, and like I said before with the first aid kit, if you use paracord from your primary kit, use this to replace it so you've always got some with you. And we have a little sharpening stone for the axe. It's got 2 grades of grit, a fine and a coarse, to keep your axe sharp and useful. And we have some extra bands and pouches for our catapult. So again, if you use your stuff in your primary gear, replace it with these. And we have another jumbo ferrocerium rod, and this one's got a loophole in it, so you could hang that around your neck or tie it onto something. And in the side pouch we have pegs, not entirely essential, but these are lightweight aluminium ones. It just make your life a whole lot easier having them with you. And in this resealable waterproof freezer bag thing, we have a power bank. This one's a 20,000 milliamp hour one. I'll get onto that in a minute. We have a micro USB recharger for our lithium-ion battery. Get onto that as well in a minute. And we have a whole bunch of extra fishing line. And also in another waterproof bag we have a wild food book, just to help you identify any species of plants or shellfish or nuts and berries that you're not quite sure about. But it's always good to go on some courses, learn all those sort of things, but it's there to help you. In this side pouch we have a big bag of rice. The rice goes quite a long way, so the idea of this is to supplement anything you can find foraging, just to help you on the way. So in the main pouch, this is going to surprise you, a tablet, a small waterproof pouch. So the idea behind this is more of a mental well-being thing. If you're in a long-term survival situation, as I'm sure people who have been, their mental state, is often detrimental to their survival and their sanity, of course. So this is light. It just slips in. Hardly weighs a thing. You can, load it with movies, TV shows, and also PDFs of 1,000 books on wild foods, foraging, survival, anything, just to help you buy and keep your sanity, basically, and try and make the most of your situation and at least have some entertainment and fun. So you might be wondering how that's going to be powered. So in here I've got a small fold-in solar panel. This is by Cherry Tech. So this is a 3-panel design. It's weather resistant. I think it's fairly waterproof. I think it's like 18 watts or 24 watts, something like that. And it's got charging cables inside. So, as I showed you before, the power bank, you can leave this out during the day, charging the power bank. At night, can charge your tablet and the batteries for your torch. So really, you've got a sort of indefinite power supply and supply those items with power. Okay, so under that we've got another larger cooking stroke boiling vessel. Again, this is from Pathfinder, stainless steel, single wall, got a lid, and inside, of course, there's space to fill it with stuff. So I've got an extra pouch of peanut butter so I can replace that in the primary gear. Of course, these are just all extra bits. If you can carry it, take it. Loads of chili seeds, because you know some plants are pretty bland and not very palatable, so something like that will just make life a whole lot nicer. Whole bunch of 3-in-1 coffee brew sachets, and I have this little bottle of concentrated fruit juice, just to make water a bit more exciting, because you're going to get sick of just drinking water, so that'd be nice. And I have stock cubes in there as well, just to make those wild foods taste a bit nicer again. And I got a lightweight, small, packable sleeping bag. Not entirely essential, but I've got room for it and it's light, so I'd really want this. And if your bug out location is compromised or you have to ditch this gear, you've got your survival bivvy bag in your primary gear. And I have a big waterproof dry bag with sort of some extra clothing, some warm gear, and in here I've got a softy jacket, so that's a nice warm outer layer. I mean, you could just use this and forgo the sleeping bag and, you know, sleep with this on. I have some just spare trousers, extra pair of socks. The socks I use are like hiking socks. These just last forever, you know, and they're very warm, very comfortable. Spare t-shirt, spare pair of pants, thermal top and bottoms, so you could put these on at night in your sleeping bag. Say if you need to dry out your outer clothes by the fire, just wear these, those will keep you warm. And I have a bivvy bag. Of course, this is waterproof and this is like an extra large size, so you could forget the sleeping bag and just take a bivvy bag. This packs down even smaller, lighter, and you could just fill this with dried grass, dry leaf matter to help with insulation. And last but not least, I have my shelter. So this is a half lavu, not very light, but it is extremely durable. This will just last for years and years. Quite handy in a survival situation. I mean, these lightweight sil nylon and polyester tarps that you get are just not very durable. They're great for ultralight hiking, but in a survival situation, I just the peace of mind, I'd rather have something more durable. It's probably just about the right size. It's not too long, not too short. Got a good weight head on it. It's quite... that just sounds like a